Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We're taking a look here at Elon once more, and just before we do, always look at Bitcoin, get a quick understanding kind of what's going on there. I think every good trader should do that. It's very important. And just before we jump in, if you're new to the channel, just know I'm not a financial advisor. I just have years of trading experience. My goal is to help you become a more effective trader. I have a trading community, link in the description below. Check that out on your own time. Really awesome group of folks, and more importantly, I actually send out signals for every single trade that I take, so you get to kind of share and follow along if you'd like. I have an 85% success rate, and you can just one-click follow. Pretty cool situation. Check it out in your own time. Pretty stoked about that. Now, what we're going to do is look at Bitcoin just really quick. On the one-day chart, just to note, obviously we have two red candles here, right? Because the price jumped up way too fast, way too quick here recently. It opened up a nice shorting opportunity there at the top, right around 67,000. And we have our support and resistance channels here. So we got support from 58 to 60,000, resistance between 65 and 66. All right, so the price kind of just hanging out in between these two channels for now. My speculation is we might see 58,000 as a perhaps a lower point here before we see the leg back up, but it's hard to say specifically just yet what will happen. But a lot of folks are taking their profits, and I can totally see why, because we haven't had a correction since, late September. So it's been a long time coming, and I think it was important that this happened before we take off, further closer to 100,000. We need to have some kind of correction. It's just a natural law of things. Moving on to Elon, let's go ahead and take a quick look here. And just to clarify, we do obviously have a pretty major resistance back here. I mean, 223, it might be a little while before we see that, but that is essentially the highest point. Now we'll take a look at some more recent situations here, of course, and we'll go ahead and kind of start drawing some support and resistance levels, because obviously there are some resistance channels starting to establish themselves. So we got this right here, right at about 52. And we might have a support close to about 45. Let's take a look at the fib first. So let's see what Fibonacci tells us here. Look at that, right on the nose here. So we've got an obvious resistance at 52. That's the 0.786. And then we could actually have a support level right at about 0.5, which is 46. Let's go ahead and mark 46 here. I'm sure the 4-hour candlestick will probably reiterate that, but we'll just take a look here soon. All right, so let's just kind of do some general support and resistance levels. So we should be able to see the price kind of work within that channel for a little while, and then possibly break to the upside here soon. And when I say possibly break to the upside, I just mean that once the correction is finished from Bitcoin, there's a strong likelihood we'll see this probably jump back, because then the capitalization is kind of shifting, so to speak, and there's a paradigm shift from the largest coin, Bitcoin, to altcoins like this, right? So this correction is kind of healthy because we get the Bitcoin dominance is receding. It allows extra money in the industry to kind of get put into coins like these, the large market cap coins first. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so that's kind of what we're looking at here for just the one-day chart. I don't see much exciting here except for the fact that we're well over 70 on the RSI. Bear in mind 70, 50, and 30 can work as support resistance zones, or levels, so to speak. So with this RSI being where it's at, I would not be surprised if the price continues to kind of stay above the 70 on the RSI and continue just to kind of hang out above there. That happens quite a lot, at least in strong bull runs like these. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart and kind of see what's going on. We got our, the prices kind of staying within what was it, 46, upwards of 52. We don't have a convergence on the MACD yet, but there is a likelihood of that shifting, essentially to the upside. Now, bear in mind, this doesn't necessarily tell us that it's going to happen soon, but you can only go in one direction for so long before the price kind of returns, right? So we'll look at market exhaustion, see if there's any indication of that on the 1-hour chart for just say TD sequential, and see if that is kind of signaling a swing back somewhat to the upside. But for right now, at this point, I would speculate that we're going to see a turnaround, maybe a convergence on the MACD eventually, and it might look something like that. Okay. Again, a little early to tell. It's kind of narrowing its scope here. It's kind of working itself into a little channel here, so you can literally just kind of draw a couple lines and kind of see what it's doing. There's a chance it'll break to the upside here in the near future. Okay, at least more likely than not. And what's even better too, we got the 50 on the RSI is working as a support level, so the fact that it's staying right above 50 is excellent. So if we don't lose this support here, we're going to be in good shape to see a break to the upside, because it'll have enough momentum to kind of converge on the MACD, so to speak. Take a look at the 1-hour chart. Let's go ahead and quickly check the Ichimoku cloud and kind of see where we're at. We are within the cloud right now, so that's technically considered a no buy zone. So we want to be above the cloud in order to take entry, right? So I'd say comfortably, if you're going to consider taking entry, wait for the cloud to essentially become, be lower than the price. But more importantly, probably just wait for the price to come and break 52, and then of course, have that confirmation you're moving in the right direction. I like to take confirmation and use it as an indication to move with the bulls, right? Instead of kind of gambling and trying to buy the dip, just say you bought right at 42 or 46 and the price retraces down to 30 or 35, you're going to be stuck holding that coin until then, right? If we get confirmation, you're moving in the same direction as they are, and it's a win-win, right? Those are things I like to look for. Those are signals that I send out to my community members. That's why my success rate is honestly as very high as it is, based on a simple fact that I don't take entry prematurely. You need to wait for the right indicators. And a lot of times it's just support and resistance levels that haven't been established yet. These are support and resistance levels based on Fibonacci retracement, so I trust them. If you're not using that, then just make sure you take the highest and lowest point on the one-day candlesticks and essentially use that as kind of a baseline. Anyways, that's kind of where we're at here for the 1 hour. Let's take a quick look at TD sequential, and then we can call it a day here. Go ahead and move on with the prediction. Simply put, TD sequential, we're in a state of consolidation. We don't have a lot of knowledge here on where it's at. In other words, when you have the price kind of going sideways, working itself into smaller channels, then you're going to get a lot of resets, and we don't have really a state of exhaustion based on the simple fact that we're only a few hours into this, and it's kind of, for lack of better terms, going sideways right now. So that's actually a very good sign. I like to see that. So big picture with what we see here. What are we going to see in the near future? Well, one thing we want to look at is big picture and the potential for the next little ramp up, right? So say this were to break out today and kind of crank up. Best case scenario, we're looking at about 84 cents. I would say that's the best before we see a significant retracement. That's pretty much what we saw back here where it came all the way up and it came down. Look at this, it's almost halfway from where it started, right? That happens often. That's why Fibonacci has a 0.5 on the scale, and that's why that's a strong support level right now, because it's gone up half of the way, so to speak, and it's staying there. In other words, we need to be able to see something like that moving forward. For lack of better terms, big picture, I would say that we're going to see the price probably consolidate in this channel that it's in right now. So we're looking at probably what somewhere between 46 and 52. We need to see this candlestick close, the one-day candlestick close above 46 for it to be a support. And preferably we see a couple more days of consolidation going sideways, and then we see a break to the upside. So if we get this one-day candlestick to close, it would be a good confirmation that we've probably established that as a support level. That would be a good indication perhaps of adding to your position or a buy signal because the price is holding at support. Again, this is a Fibonacci support level, not just a random line drawn on the map, right, or the chart. So just keep that in mind. That's essentially what we're looking at. So that being said, that's kind of, I would say that within next week, we're going to see a break to the upside. Right here at about 52, we will see that broken. It's just a matter of how long the correction will last for Bitcoin and how that dominance essentially affects the price for Elon. That's basically the bottom line. And then, of course, once we break that, again, taking a look at the Fibonacci retracement, we can go ahead and see that we are looking at a pretty safe presumption that the price will come up to test its previous, more recent highs, right? And then likely break them to the upside eventually. So again, I would say within the next month, 84 cents is probably a strong likelihood, but that would be more so a better case scenario. And then, of course, the next week or two, we'll see the price working itself in this channel and probably break 52 cents. Sorry, I keep saying 52 cents. You know what I mean by that. It's a bunch of zeros followed by 52. But that's essentially what you're looking at. So big picture, I think we'll definitely see some good things here from Elon, but you shouldn't expect it to 2, 3, 4x right away. It might have potential over the long term to do that, perhaps once altcoin season swings into full effect. I think that's probably likely going to happen early next year with this correction from Bitcoin. So just keep that kind of in the forefront of your mind. This is a good consideration for a long-term hold. And I know a lot of you mentioned in your comments from my last video that you are down in 7 to 10 range. That's awesome. Good for you. I would say just keep holding on there. It wouldn't hurt to obviously take some profits if it spikes up again really high, and then maybe buy the next dip, right? That's the cool thing about these. When they crank up really high, if you set the right target and you have that right target in place, then you'll get that profit. Price comes back down, you take your profits, add it back to your position, you keep increasing your position size. That's probably the best way to do it, just kind of a rinse and repeat. But again, before you take any trades, and I teach this to my patrons, make sure you set targets, preferably 3 targets in place at all times. And then also ensure you have a stop loss or a trailing stop loss, which are usually functional through trading bots. And I know it sounds kind of crazy. It's like, oh, I don't want to give control to that. Trust me, it's a fantastic option. It makes me so much money based on the simple fact that I hit my profit targets. The trailing stop loss moves up to my most recent target, and it keeps ensuring that I keep making money, and I'm very profitable. I can assure you, it's much better than the opportunities that these exchanges right now offer. They don't offer a lot of profit options, if you will, right? You don't have more than one target that you can set, and you don't have more than one stop loss. It's just strictly a stop loss, right? You need to be able to have a trailing stop loss. That's the most effective way to do it. Anyways, I show you all that in my trading community. Check that out in your own time. Thank you so much for your time here today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.